I must have passed out as I soared away from Earth, from that cruel, dark place where men dwell. The place where that cold ocean that has been my cell was. For I woke in a plush garden. The air was cool. It was not too hot, nor was it cold. It was a perfect setting for this pale cage called flesh that encompassed me. I blinked my eyes, trying to get my bearings. I lay flat on my stomach. I still was a limbless monster. Oh, how far I have fallen. I wanted to weep, but I had no more tears left in me. I resigned myself to accept this fate and make the best of it. The ground beneath me was sand. It was smooth and golden brown. The trees seemed tropical and filled with fruits. This place was beautiful. There was a peace and love in the air I have not felt in eons. It was the peace of paradise. Was I accepted back home? Has Allah forgiven me finally? Could I be the most beautiful creation again? I sighed deeply and pushed those foolish thoughts from my near-crazed mind. My flesh ached and burned. I heard a soft sound in the distance. It was a beautiful sound, the sound of a woman singing. It sounded angelic, like the voices of the jinns singing the praise of their Lord. Oh, how I remember those sweet days. Even now, eons past, and I still long for them. I had to get closer to it. I, like all jinns, can't help but be transfixed by things we find beautiful. I rocked back and forth, trying to figure out a way to get my limbless body to move. All I accomplished was rolling onto my back. I struggled for a moment to roll back onto my stomach. I was a jinn. I was better than all of the creations. I would not allow myself to be beaten by my current state. I moved my upper body, then my lower. I was pushed forward slightly. Just that little amount of movement was exhausting. The singing started to fade as if the woman was moving away from me. "No, please," I pleaded. My voice was a hoarse whisper that sounded more like a hiss. I have been screaming in pain and anger for so long, my throat was damaged. It felt like it was on fire every time I tried to speak. I must have sounded like some monster. I did not want to lose that beautiful voice and undoubtedly the creature that possessed it. I placed my forehead on the sandy ground and pulled myself forward. It was tedious work. I had to stop often to shake the sand out of my face. Eventually, I was able to develop a rhythm. I moved my shoulders and my hips like I was walking. I was able to slither across the sand. It made moving much easier than pulling myself forward with my head. I made my way slowly towards the voices. I stopped to catch my breath as I came into a clearing. The clearing was of tall, green, wet grass. The grass was the greenest I have yet to see. It was beautiful. The cool dew that saturated it felt good on my warm and scratched flesh. I sighed, relieved, and closed my eyes to enjoy this sensation. I must have dozed off, for when I opened my eyes again it was night. The singing had stopped, but before me stood a massive tree. It glowed with a heavenly power. It had huge, juicy purple fruits hanging from it. They smelled amazing, and I was starving. I started to slither closer to it. "That's when I saw her and read. She was beautiful, so beautiful that it gave me pause. I, the most beautiful creature ever created, was in awe of this creation. She took my breath from my poor lungs. It escaped me like a hiss. Her hair was thick and black. It braided down her long, slender back. Her flesh was as dark as her hair. It was magnificent. It shone in the moonlight. I wanted to touch it. I wanted to feel it against my flesh. Her lips were full, and her eyes were black orbs suspended in a pool of white. I recognized her. She looked like Adam, the creation that I hated and despised. But I could not hate her. How could I, a jinn, hate something so beautiful? She moved with a grace and a poise that was regal. She was the queen of this garden, and Adam her king. It was then that I learned the greatest weakness of men. It transcends that bit of flesh between their legs. Women were created to be the helpmate of men. They are the weakness. Despite the bravado and masculine strength of men, they are weak when it comes to their women. They are like us in the way that they are transfixed by something beautiful. She was staring at the massive, beautiful tree. She wanted to eat from it, but for some reason she did not. I moved closer to her as I wanted to smell her, for surely something as beautiful as her must smell of the heavens. She must have heard me, for she jumped, startled, and turned to me. She saw me, Angrid. She looked me in my eyes. I was transfixed. She could have killed me then, and I would not have cared. For that one moment of her attention was truly worth my life. She was the most beautiful woman I have ever seen. I won't ever see one as beautiful as her again. She did not fear me. She smiled, and the entire garden seemed to glow with it. I could not move, nor speak. "Hello, little one," she said. Her voice was just as enchanting as her singing. It was just as musical. She walked over to me and knelt. If I knew what nakedness was, I would have hidden my eyes, for I am not worthy to look upon the hidden flesh of one such as her. But she wore nothing. Her breasts seemed perfect, round and firm. Her skin was flawless, without blemishes. Oh, and her scent was like that of a flower in a paradise. The one we used to enjoy all those eons ago. She was kind. I know I must look like a horrid thing next to her. But she leaned down and kissed me on my head. "I have not seen you here before. Allah is always creating new things for Adam and myself to enjoy. Is not Allah the greatest?" she said. My entire body shuddered at her touch. She seemed perplexed by me. "I am Hawa, the helpmate of the blessed Adam. Who are you?" Hawa said. She stared at me patiently as I found my voice. "I am Iblis," I replied. My throat was so raw and dry, it sounded like barely audible hiss. But she understood. She smiled at me again. "Welcome to the kingdom of Adam. This is Eden. Allah, in his love for Adam, gave all of this to him," Hawa said joyfully. I looked around from my vantage point in the grass and could not see the immense beauties of this place, but I could only imagine. The thought of Adam made me frown. This caught Eve off guard.
"What are you doing with your mouth?"
Hawa asked. This innocent, beautiful woman had never frowned. She had never been sad or suffered. My frown was new to her. "Hungry," I said. Hawa smiled again and nodded. She stood and ran off. As soon as she left, I felt sad. Her absence left a hole in my soul. I needed her to come back. I started to panic. But then I saw her running back with some fruit in her hands.
"Here, eat,"
she said. She handed me a banana. I did not know what it was back then, nor had I ever tasted it. But it was amazing. I devoured it. She poured some water in her cupped hand and held it down so I could drink. This beautiful, kind creation was unworthy of the wicked Adam who usurped my place as the most beautiful creation. My throat felt better. It was still raw, but better. I was still hungry, and I looked at the huge purple fruit hanging from the massive glowing tree behind her. Hawa followed my gaze to the purple fruit.
"No, Iblis, we cannot eat from that tree,"
Hawa said matter-of-factly. Her voice was not stern nor harsh. It was just a fact to her, no different than her stating that she breathes. But I was curious. Why would Allah place such an enticing tree with such delicious-looking fruits in this garden and not allow anyone to taste them? Did that fruit hold some power? Would that fruit make me the most beautiful creation again? Did it hold the knowledge of how to create life? I had to know. If it would restore me to what I rightfully am, then I had to eat that fruit. I nodded at her and watched as she ran off. I would taste that fruit when she returns to Adam. She quickly returned with several more fruits. I devoured them. Hawa watched me intently. She was very curious about me. "Hawa," a deep voice just as beautiful as Hawa's boomed. I knew this had to be Adam. I had to hide. He might recognize me. But then I remembered that I looked nothing like what I used to. If I looked at myself, I would not recognize the horrid creature staring back at me.
"That is my beloved king and master, Adam. I must go attend to him,"
Hawa said. Her beautiful smile never left her face. I watched as she ran off. She was happy to serve Adam. She loved Adam and was loyal to Adam. How Allah must love Adam to create a beautiful being such as Hawa, to make his already easy life easier, to keep him from being lonely. I stared at the fruit hanging from the tree. I was going to taste it. I licked my lips and slithered over to the tree. I made it to the base of this magnificent glowing tree and waited to catch my breath. I looked up and sighed. The fruit was much higher than I had thought. There was no way I could reach it. Maybe I could knock some loose, I thought. I banged my head hard against the tree. Pain coursed through my body. My eyes started to water. The tree did not move. I would have to convince Hawa to give me one. I slithered away from the tree and in the direction that Eve ran off to. It did not take long before I heard their voices. They were both beautiful. Maybe Adam was truly more beautiful than me. Maybe I was wrong to question Allah, I thought. I pushed those thoughts out of my mind as soon as they appeared. No one was more beautiful than I was. I would be that again. I came to a clearing. I cannot explain the sights here. Just that they were more beautiful than anything we have seen in paradise. In the middle of the clearing lay Adam. He was staring up at the sky and singing to Allah. Hawa lay on his well-muscled ebony chest and fed him grapes. I could see the love and admiration for Adam in her eyes. I don't know why, but that enraged me. I was jealous. Adam had usurped my place in paradise, and now he has Hawa. I would make him pay. I wanted to leave, but I could not take my eyes off them. So I lay there and stared. I lost count of the days and months that passed. This garden was indeed paradise. I felt at home here. I was still the grotesque, pale, limbless monster. But Hawa did not care about that. I would spend hours resting my head on her lap and talking to her. She was amazing. I would fall asleep and curse myself for doing so, for each moment of sleep was a moment that I could not lay eyes on her. She wanted to introduce me to Adam, but I asked her not to. She was confused by this, but I told her I was not ready. She would try to convince me that Adam would love me just as much as she did, that we could eat and share stories together. She would go on for hours about how amazing Adam is. This would enrage me. She should be singing my praise like that. I should be the one she adores and loves. She should be mine. Sure, she would spend hours with me, but it was clear she was not mine. I was just another creature that was placed in Adam's garden to serve Adam. It perplexed her that I wanted to hide from him. I knew she would eventually tell him, so I had to do something. I had to sway her heart against him, even if only for a moment. I had spent many hours observing her and Adam. The creation of man and his helpmate were very interesting creatures. Adam was the leader. He was strong, assertive, and logical. Hawa, the helpmate, was smart, loving, and very emotional. She would stare at a setting sun and cry because she would miss the sun, but smile when the moon rose in the sun's place because she was happy to see the moon again. So I had to play to Hawa's emotions. I had to use that against her to get what I wanted. I knew the day was fast approaching that she would tell Adam about me, and he would come to see me. One morning, as I lay on Hawa's lap, her beautiful, shapely and ebony legs pressed against my pale cheek, she was telling me about a song she sang to praise Allah for the sun. Ah, she was so innocent and dread. I looked up at her, and she met my gaze. My cold heart fluttered. "Hawa," I said. "Throughout the countless days and months I have spent here, my throat has not healed. It still sounded like a hiss, but she understood. Her smile disarmed me. I almost could not do it. I desired her so much that it pained me to lie to her. I did not desire her the way a man desires a woman. This desire was beyond mortal comprehension. She was beautiful beyond the sun she wept for when it set, or the moon she smiled for when it rose. I desired her love the way she loved Adam, I desired to lay in her lap all day and just stare at her. I have never seen Allah's face, but I imagined she was as close to it as I would ever see.
Yes, Iblis.
Hawa asked. Oh, her voice could take the breath from the very wind. I could spend eternity just listening to her say my name. Even now that I am back here in this wretched cold place called Earth, I can still hear her say my name. Even its memory makes me shudder with pleasure. I started to weep. I didn't mean to weep, but I couldn't help it. Knowing I would lie to her hurt me. Hawa looked at me with concern on her beautiful face. She had never seen pain before. All she knew was happiness and peace.
Why do you weep so, Iblis?
Hawa asked. I took a deep, shuddering breath. Adam will hurt me, beloved. He has hurt me before. I need you to help me, I said to her. She stood and pushed me off of her like I was something disgusting to her. She stared at me intently. She did not know what a lie was. She, in her innocence, assumed that everyone told the truth. But this was hard for her to hear.
Adam hurt you?
She asked. Shocked, and for the first time, I heard pain in her voice. She placed a hand over her heart and gasped for breath. Pain was new to her. It took her a moment to process this feeling. For the first time in Hawa's existence, she cried out of pain. Her heart broke and ached. She breathed rapidly, and it took her several moments to catch her breath. Though it hurt me to see her this way, I had to fight the sadistic smile that threatened to creep on my face. Hawa sat down again and hugged me. I melted in her arms. I was defenseless. After a moment, she released me. I told her my story. I told her of how I was the most beautiful of Allah's creations, and how Adam usurped me and had me thrown from paradise. Of course, I embellished a lot. The look of horror on her beautiful face affirmed that I had her, that she would help me. Because of Adam, I am this limbless, hissing thing. Only the fruit from that tree will restore me, I said. Hawa shook her beautiful head. Her thick braided hair cascaded down her slender ebony back. You said you loved me, Hawa. You said we were family. Please, help heal me, beloved, I pleaded with her. I could see her beautiful heart breaking. She was confused.
But Allah forbade us from this tree, Iblis,
Hawa said as she wept. I frowned at her. Did Allah tell you this, or did Adam? I asked her. Hawa was as smart as she was beautiful. She knew where I was going with this. She did not answer, but I could see it in her eyes. The seed of mistrust had been sown. You are better than Adam. You are more beautiful than Adam. Adam knew if you ate from this tree, he would become your helpmate, and you the master here. Can you not see this? I said. I saw the desire and doubt in her eyes and heart. I felt pulled to it, connected to it. So I whispered to that doubt and desire to give it strength. Hawa shuddered and stood.
I am sorry for what you have endured, Iblis,
Hawa said. She reached for one of the huge purple fruits and plucked it from one of the tree's glowing branches. A silence came over the garden. The bright sun seemed frightened and hid behind the clouds. The warm garden became cold. Hawa shuddered again and dropped the fruit.
"What have I done?"
Hawa gasped. Her face filled with horror. I looked at her and smiled. "Thank you, beloved," I said. Hawa turned from me and ran. The fruit before me smelled of the heavens. It whispered to me of power. I devoured it. Its juice was like fire through my entire body. I screamed in pain as my fire was reignited. My limbs grew back. I was once again Iblis, the most beautiful of Allah's creations. "Hawa!" I shouted. I wanted her to see the real me, to love me as she loves Adam, to see how much better I am than him. But she did not answer me. I ran in the direction that she did. I would kill Adam and claim her. I saw her crying in Adam's arms as I approached. She looked at me in horror. I, Iblis, in my true beautiful form, yet she was terrified of me. Yet when I was that limbless monster that slithered on my pale bare stomach, she loved me. I could not understand this. Adam stood in front of her. He was protecting her from me. "I am Iblis. I am better than you. I am born of smokeless fire. You are just a black thing made of clay and dust," I roared. "How can she love you and not me?" I shouted, confused. Hawa was sobbing, and for the first time she knew she was naked. She and Adam looked at each other's nakedness and covered up their genitals with their hands. I was curious about this, for we had all been naked here for what seemed like an eternity. What did they suddenly now care about? Before I could wonder any further about this, the guardian Malaik appeared before me. He was massive and radiated power. He held a sword made of the brightest light in his right hand. "Your task is done, Iblis," Malaik boomed. With a speed I could never begin to calculate, he struck me with that blade of the brightest light. I screamed in pain and found myself falling once again from heaven. Like last time, I fell into the ocean, my flame extinguished. But I was not imprisoned there any more. I was not chained to the bottom of the ocean. My flesh was still pale, but it was smooth as ivory. It had a beauty all of its own, a beauty that one can find in a corpse. I swam up to the surface and stood upon the water. I was wondering what I would do next. I knew I had changed the lives of Adam and Hawa. At that time, I did not understand how. I missed Hawa. It hurt me to use her so. But it felt good to whisper to her heart. I could see the strings of her doubt and desire. It was effortless to pull them. As I stood on the ocean surface, the waves crashed around my feet. I saw you, dear Angrid, still chained to the bottom of the ocean. I could see you through the countless miles and darkness. You shone like a beacon. I could hear your scream and curse. Since I had nothing left to do, I stood there and waited for you.